right, so good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for whatever time you might be watching this. So, we welcome you to another exciting episode of the Basscomm Innovation Series podcast, at where technology meets strategy and idea sparks transformation. I remain your host, Bibiri Agbelusi, and today we are diving into a topic that is shaping the future of smart infrastructure and sustainable business, which is driving innovations through building management systems, a competitive advantage in today's business environment. So, now, in a world where efficiency, data, and sustainability define success, organizations are rethinking how their buildings operate, from energy use to maintenance to security and overall experience. So, joining me in this conversation are some brilliant minds from the Basecom team who are the forefront of this innovation. In person of, we have engineer Jasper, who is our BDELVS manager here at Basecom Nigeria. We have Divine Oba, who is also our expert in the E&C sector. And we also have engineer Shegu Oye, who is our BD solar manager here at Basecom Nigeria. So I'll give you the floor. Each of us can introduce ourselves, just 30 seconds each for my respective team members. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bibi. Good morning to you, and good morning to every other person on this call. My name is Mr. Jasper Onyebu, and like Bibi introduced me, I am the business manager for the mechanical and the EFVS strategic business unit for Basscomm Group. Okay, so and I'm going to be part of the team discussing the subject today. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Divine, over to you.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching this session today. My name is Divine Oba, and I lead the engineering and commercial team with Basscomm, which is the design unit. So, the topic today is of particular interest to me, so I trust that this will be an interesting session. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. So to kick things off, I would like to start with the basics of, for the sake of our audience who may not know the concept, they may not even have heard of the word the BMS. So, what exactly is BMS, the Building Management System, and why is it becoming so vital in modern business operations? So, this question is open to my guests. Anybody can go first. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Okay,
so let my senior colleague take the floor. Thank you.
Odiva, you can actually go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you once again for inviting me to speak on this innovation. So I'll say that BMS, being the acronym for Building Management System, uh, we that we're in the engineering industry, we know that BMS is one of the big innovations uh, that's coming to the space. So basically, to a layman, beauty management system is just a single platform where we bring in several other systems. So we know that in the engineering space, we have mechanical systems such as HVAC, firefighting, and then we have electrical systems, we have plumbing, and then we have the ELVS, all the ones that we're very familiar with: access control, CCTV, fire alarm, and all of that ones. So basically, building management system is a single platform where you're able to monitor and control all of these systems that I've mentioned from a single platform, a single software. So to a layman, that is um, the selling points for BMS. So think about all the people who manage facilities of several floors, several systems. How about you are able to monitor some of those things and even control these parameters from a single dashboard? You can do that from your phones, from your workstations. So it is like a serious innovation that's come to stay. So it's very important that we pay attention to this session and um, learn one or two things. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Engineer Jasper, you can go ahead.
What's device management? The building management system, in short, called BMS, is actually a computerized network, right? A computerized network that manages all the services, majorly all the major services in a building, which Divine has mentioned some of them: the electrical, the HVAC, the security systems. It puts them all on one platform, and from there it manages. You can manage, you can administer, you can monitor all of these systems. Okay, and it's quite a good solution for any facility or corporation with vast uh, engineering services, electrical services, mechanical services, that you don't have to actually have different systems or different you don't need to have different systems or softwares monitoring these systems independently or individually. With the BMS, you can actually bring them all on the same platform, uh, do the configurations, and you'll be able to see each status of this equipment when they go into an alarm mode, when there is a required maintenance, or when there is a need to give attention to the systems. And one thing that the BMS does is it provides you with enormous data that you could use actually to make informed decisions on how to run your business or how to make your facility more effective. Okay. And some of the functions of a building management system, you're looking at centralized monitoring and control. Okay. You're looking at automation, you're looking at energy efficiency, you're looking at enhanced comfort and safety, and a lot more that the BMS actually offers the businesses or corporations that have them running on their facility. So it's a vast array of solutions that come together or are being brought together for a centralized monitoring and control. So in a nutshell, that's what the concept of the BMS, and that's what it does. Part of what it does, yes.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Ma. Now I have a better understanding of the BMS systems. But Engineer Jasper, I have a question for you. So I
Yeah.
picked, you mentioned energy savings. So I would like to ask that how does BMS provide a framework for a for a corporation to monetize its physical spaces by creating a new revenue system from an optimized, like flexible environment? Do you understand? Because we're still talking about energy saving. So how can this become a new revenue for for them? Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, so the BMS actually serves as the backbone, right, for data-driven informations, and then with that, you can actually transform your unused spaces or even your used spaces into you can actually make more effective use of it, of your use of your spaces, and also turn them to generate more income for your business, or you can actually monetize a lot of this your space or your facility. One of the areas which you will consider is the dynamic space allocation, and flexible leasing. So what this means is that like many of businesses in Nigeria, right, we rent our apartments or we rent our office spaces and you set it up. So you know where Jasper's desk is, so it's unmovable. You know where Divine desk is, it's unmovable. So whether Jasper is there or not, his desk is there. Nobody sits on his desk. Whether Peter is there, comes to work that day or not, Nobody sits on his desk. Whether we are working on remote work, nobody sits in the office, right? And for many of these facilities, we are looking at high-rise buildings with huge mechanical systems, electrical installations, with a lot of security equipment. And when we talk about security, we're not just looking at CCTV and access control. We're looking at other equipment that consumes a lot of power, like the boilers, right? Like your Yes, like the boilers, and some of these systems require a lot of energy to power them. So when you have a BMS system in your place or in place, all right, it monitors the occupancy of the floors, what happens within this space at every point in time. It monitors the foot traffic, how many people come in, all right. It also monitors the environmental conditions of this space, all right, using maybe CO2 levels and all of that, motion detection and all of that. It could tell what energy requirement, what is the energy requirement of a particular space at any given time. For instance, with a BMS on your facility, you don't need to increase the HVAC, or you don't need to increase the air conditioning of a particular room manually. As the BMS is peaking, people are coming in, the heat in that space is getting higher, right? Because as people come, they come with their own body heat. All right. It monitors the CO2 level in that room or in that space. So as it is monitoring this, it's analyzing and then making different changes, either to turn up the air conditioning of the place or reduce it, to turn on the lights or to turn it off, to make more energy requirement for that place or not. So it helps you, or it helps the business to actually uh, allocate spaces for people. All right, it helps you allocate spaces for people, and instead of paying a fixed fee, all right, you can actually do a flexible leasing. Okay, you can say, okay, for Basscomm, you are using our floors, or you are a tenant, so to say, in this space. Okay, we are going to be charging you $50,000 a year. But as Basscomm staff increases, the energy requirement to serve Basscomm will also increase. So you can now say, okay, Basscomm, because of this, and this is the data, this is the CO2 readings of your space in the last 6 months, right? This is the energy consumption of your space in the last 6 months. This is the water usage in your space for the last 6 months. All right. Because of this, we are going to increase your from 50 to 75. And it can also drop. And then you say, okay, based on from what we have seen, you are not using this space up to 50%. So we are going to bring another company, say one source, to use this place with you. So you create a flexible leasing framework for these two companies, and all of them are being served very well. So what this does is it will increase your revenue. Okay, so your revenue now will be based on billing instead of fixed rate. So it will be as a service. All right, it will be as a service, no longer fixed. So it increases your revenue. You can serve more people with the same space within the period of time. Now it provides you data-driven tenant services and upscale. There are some techie companies, there are some companies that are very techie, and they want all of this they are LEED certified, and they want their space to have all of these systems in place, so that they can monitor a lot of what they need to do. So you will attract a lot of, or some of these techie organizations, and they will become your tenants. And what it means also, you are going to be selling smart spaces now. So you are not just having facilities and that. So it's more like a smart space. So it's only companies that require those kind of space will come to you, and they pay premium. All right. Then you also look at increasing your revenue through integration with emerging markets and IoT systems. The business, the BMS actually work with sensors, outputs and inputs. Okay, so you integrate a lot of IoT devices into your system, and by that you increase your sustainability. Okay, you are working with the sustainability plan, the global sustainability plan. And what it also means is that you are going to be leasing optimized spaces for short-term events. So you might not necessarily have one customer that owns this space from January to December. You could have different events happen in your space. You could actually make some changes in your business space, and by that, not only one person is paying you. You now have multiple businesses or multiple enterprises using your space because you meet a lot of their requirements, and that increases your revenue. So that will help a framework to increase your revenue just because you have a building management system in place or installed in your facility. Maybe
Thank you
I don't
very.
need
All
to
right.
get that right. Just to mention a few, right?
All right. So Didi, do you have anything to say to what Engineer Jasper said?
Okay, so I would say that he has said it all in regards to the question that you have asked, because a building management system is all inclusive. A building management system is able to do more than you even think it can do for your facility. So, as he said, uh, simple automations to very complex automations, making use of um, input and output sensors. So it is really an inclusive system for all, how will I say it, in different sectors. So it can be used in several sectors, industries, companies, banking sector, and several other sectors. So he has actually said it all. Thank you.
All right. So thank you. I know that I have heard from Engineer Jasper and also from Didi. But Didi, I also have a question I want to ask that. So what are the risks that they are going to be exposed to if they don't have a BMS system in their facility? And can homeowners to also try to bring in BMS into their facility, or is it just limited to organizations?
Okay, that's a very good question. So let me answer the second question first. So, like I said just few minutes ago, that building management system doesn't have to be complex, from the very simple automations to the complex automations. So, for instance, I'm a homeowner. I have uh, in my facility, I have a solar inverter system. I have a CCTV system. I have maybe an access control, nothing serious in my house. But that alone is something that a BMS can make more sustainable for you. So imagine I am at work and my children are at home. They're running down the inverter system. They are not managing these facilities well from the comfort of my PC, because I have made provision for a building management system. This system is telling me, okay, at this particular point in time of at this particular time of the day, this is how much charge is left on my battery. My inverter is almost dead. So is not only limited to big corporations, companies, industries. No matter how, even if it's just two systems, the building management system is just bringing in sensors, bringing in monitoring devices, bringing in control devices for facilities, from the high end facilities to your home. So that is to answer the question of whether it's just for homes, sorry, just for big facilities, or it can be adopted for homes as well. So it's not limited to very big corporations or big facilities. As far as you have more than one system, a BMS can do so much for you than you expect. So so to now answer the first question, what are the risks of not having a building management system? So I will say that the risks are so much, because imagine, okay, before I speak about the risk, the first, like when I'm telling somebody about the BMS system, the first thing I would tell you is that BMS prevents you from having to do a corrective maintenance. So in the maintenance space, there are two main types. There's the predictive maintenance and then there's the corrective maintenance. So with BMS, you don't have to wait till your systems fail before you fix something or change something. Your BMS system is measuring the health of your facilities. So if you're um, say there's a HVAC system on the BMS in our office now. So before the unit fails, the BMS system would tell me, because I said BMS is in two parts, the monitoring and the control aspect. So because that BMS system is monitoring that um, HVAC system, is monitoring that solar inverter system, before the system eventually has to break down, the BMS system will let you know beforehand, and then you quickly make those fixes, make those changes, because there are several organizations that cannot afford a downtime. So let's not even speak about just corporate organizations. There are several industries, manufacturing industries, right? People who cannot afford the downtime, like they're running engines, they're trying to do productions. So with your BMS system, the major risk that you are preventing is downtime, right? So with that BMS system, you are able to prevent any downtime and ensure that your facility is running as it should. If it's meant to be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., according to the business that you're trying to run, or if it's an office building from, say, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., you also ensure that there's no downtime. And the second major risk I would speak on is it prevents the risk of costs. So I'll say with BMS system, for instance, let me give another example. So for instance, I have a BMS monitoring device on my fuel tank, right? So if I have the normal power from the grid, and then I have backup generators. So I want to put if I'm like advising my clients, I want to put a monitoring device on that fuel tank. So let it not happen that for whatever reason the fuel or the diesel in that tank runs out, and then we're like, okay, the diesel has run out, so there's no lights, let's go and start looking for fuel. So as something as simple as that, which can also be adopted in the for private residences or for homes. So it also prevents like downtime, and then cost of having to like, okay, if there's a complete downtime, right? You're going to lose costs. You're going to This is for like production industries, for people who manufacture. So if there's a downtime, there's going to be reduction in your revenue or in your sales, right? Because for whatever reason the system has failed, and then you are having to run up and down. But a BMS system will help you to plan ahead of all these things, that okay, for a month or for a week I need this amount of diesel, or I need this amount of resources to keep my system running. So basically, BMS system helps you save costs, and then it prevents downtime in industries, or as simple as homes or for private residents. There isn't going to be a time where you have to wait for something to fail before you make certain provision and then have to fix. So thank you. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it answers my question. Although I have one more question. Is I currently have a CCTV system in my house. So are you saying I can also integrate that with the BMS if I decide to have a BMS solution in my facility? Sorry, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Sorry,
Dubai,
my
we
mic
can
was
hear you.
muted.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Yes, I can. I can
Oh,
hear you now.
okay, thank you. So I would say that um, at the end of the day, we're trying to ensure that our customers don't spend so much money, even when we're trying to provide solutions for them, right? So we're trying to solve their problems, but also trying to make it economically friendly for them. So if you have just one system in your facility, I would not advise you to get a BMS system. Like my senior colleague also said at the beginning, is a BMS system is to monitor or control several systems at the same time. So for instance, thank God you used the example of a CCTV system. For CCTV system, there's already a provision for monitoring of your devices. So with an IP CCTV system, there's already a platform right? So there's a video management system. For instance, you're using Axis. I don't know if we can call brands here, so let me not. So if we're using a particular brand of CCTV, right? Then there's the software side of things where you can monitor those things already without a BMS system. So there are certain um, systems like that already that have their own provision for monitoring. So if you now say, okay, you're my client, you have CCTV, you have access control, you have one other one and another one that you're interested in, that you now want to include a BMS system, that is where, as your service provider, I can advise you to make to include a BMS system in your facility. So, but for just one system, it is not very advisable because it might seem, the truth is that initially a BMS system might um, cost a lot. That is the honest truth. It might cost a lot to deploy it initially, but then in the long run, you realize how much effective it makes your building, how easy it makes your life. For example, a facility manager in a big site, if you have a BMS system that is telling you, okay, this thing is about to fail, this thing is running well, you're at peace. You have more control over the facilities or the services that you are managing. So to answer your question once again, it is not very cost it's not advisable cost wise to get a BMS system for just one system. A BMS system is more deployed or more advisable in the situation where you have several systems that you want to monitor or control.
All right, thank you very much for taking your time to explain. So, Engineer Jasper, I have one more question for you. Now, let's bring it back home. So, how does Basscomm's BMS solution stand out in today's competitive landscape?
Okay, to that question, I would say first of all that BMS actually is a solution for organizations, businesses, companies that have a lot of energy requirements. Okay, you have couples of HVAC equipments, you have electrical motors or machines that are run by electricity. You have pumps that are run by either electricity or diesel, right? And you are also very particular about the security of your assets, both your employees, and your physical assets, right, your properties. So BMS is a solution that you will need because from all that have been said by both Divine and myself, you will find out that with the BMS, you are looking at automation, okay? And one of the things automation helps you with, when there's nobody at that place, what does the work? What looks after the safety or the security of your machines and your personnel or your assets? Now, one of the important aspect of BMS is the control. For instance, we all live in houses. Let me just use it as an example. We all live in houses where we run our pumps or our borehole, and you only go to turn it off when you hear the splash of water going off from the tank, right? So you go turn it off. Bring that into a complex environment where maybe a facility have a sewage system, all right? You have a water treatment system, right? You have you have other systems like the HVAC and other areas that you will need control. When things when there's nobody there, what controls your systems? What tells you, okay, this system is due for maintenance or this part is due for replacement? Like when Divine spoke, she mentioned about predictive maintenance. That's one of the things BMS will help you to achieve, because on the dashboard you'll be seeing the live reporting of each of these equipment. The BMS system, if properly configured, will tell you the lifespan of a particular component, or tell you this component is due for maintenance. So you don't have to correct, you don't have to do a corrective maintenance, you don't have to do a preventive maintenance, you do predictive. Okay, because it shall show you that this requires servicing. So before the thing will even get bad, it will let you know. So for bringing it home, the content, I mean, the aspects, the benefit of having a BMS system in your space, if your business falls within the category that you have mentioned. One, you have to look at, after the assets, you have to look at your operations. All right, you have to look at your energy costs, because for businesses, energy cost is one of the highest um, expenses annually. So, but with the BMS, you can actually cut your energy usage by 30% or even more. Okay, how do you get that? Because it will automate your lighting, it will automate your HVAC, it will automate your pumps, and ensure a smooth running of all of your systems in one place. It can even help to reduce your overhead costs in terms of the number of personnel that are managing each of these equipment. Instead of having them all in as as employees, you can have some of them on retainers, where you only call them when there is need. So you have a contract SLA with them to only come and maintain when there is need, when there is a call out. But your system now does a lot of the regular operations, okay? And then it will provide you with relevant data that you can use to make informed decisions. It will help your budgeting, because, for instance, some equipment, it will tell you, okay, this equipment is due for replacement in February or in September 2026. So you already know. So you can build that into your budget and knowing that this equipment, before 2026 September, we need to plan for the replacement. Okay, so those are some of the areas you will need to consider, and then our team can actually give you a very a well-tailored bespoke design that meets your requirements. And with the good thing about BMS is you're not going to be removing a lot of the other systems you have. You're not going to be removing the components or the controllers that you have already installed, you already have running on your site, provided they are all working well. So when you now need to do BMS, so what we're going to do is, okay, we look at what you currently have. Okay, look at the controllers. Are they BMS enabled? If they are, perfect. So what you are just going to be doing is a little of hardware and software, a lot of programming. And if they are not, there are other IO devices that can communicate with these hardwares that you already have installed on your site to make them BMS enabled. And with that, okay, you are good to go. Let me just say one thing more. Divine mentioned that it doesn't have to be complex and it's scalable. So you can actually start with one. You can even start with one part. You can start with your electrical services, all right, and then you move to your HVAC. Or you can start with one or two HVAC systems, and then after a while you bring all of them on board, design completely for the full control and administration of all of this, and then you take it on from there. Okay, but if you are getting involved in a new project, you are building a new facility from the scratch, we want you to consider BMS. And Basscomm is one of the companies that could actually give you a better service in terms of both design and implementation. And we have done that for couple of our customers. For privacy, we may not mention their names here, right? But yes, Basscomm is the company to go to when you need a good BMS system for your facility.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Engineer Jasper, and thank you, Divine. So, we're coming to the end of our podcast section for today, and it has truly been an insightful conversation today, exploring how building management systems are driving innovation, sustainability, and strategic growth across the industries, from cost efficiency to smarter data use and enhanced security. So it is clear that BMS isn't just a building tool, it's a business advantage. And that's exactly what Basscom stands as for. So we are not limited to just BMS. Basscom Nigeria Limited is an engineering company that is into ELVS, which is the extra low voltage systems, and we also have the MEP sector, which is the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and not to leave out the solar space. Our renewable energy in who engineer Shegoye is in charge. And at Basscomm, we are not just providing solutions, we are engineering smarter environments. So if you are thinking of anything infrastructure, anything engineering, bring it to Basscomm. We're here for you. And we also have good hands, experts on the electrical, mechanical, solar space here at Basscomm Nigeria. And Basscomm has been at the forefront of delivering intelligent, energy efficient, and secure infrastructures, not just in Nigeria, but even across West Africa. And when you're talking of excellence, you're talking of Basscomm. So I would like to say thank you again to my senior colleagues that joined this podcast section for today. And also, please, for the audience, if you have questions or comments, you can drop it down in the comment section down below, and we'll make sure to respond to all of your comments and also all of your questions. So stay tuned for our next episode as we continue exploring how technology is redefining the future of business and infrastructure. So thank you everyone, and do have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Bibi, for having
Thank you.
us.
Have a wonderful
Thank you
day.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Divine. Have a wonderful day.